Welcome, welcome, welcome to this episode of Hidden Gems. I'm excited to have Ken and Mary, and I just recently met them. In fact, I remember first meeting you guys in that little small group, but I don't remember much about it. You did. You said something, I had said something, but I still don't even know what I said that caught your attention. But that's the first time, and I think that was the last stirring that they had for the summer. So I didn't really get to meet you guys formally until now, and we're going to do this on camera. So I'm just going to start with some simple questions, like, first of all, how long have you been married?
I'm going to defer to you because I'm not.
It'll be 39 years this November.
Wow, 39 years. Congratulations. That's beautiful. You don't hear that much anymore. And how many kids?
We have 2 children, adult children.
Okay, and boy, girl, boy, one girl?
2 girls.
2 girls.
They're both married.
Both married. Any grandkids
We
yet?
have 2 grandkids.
2 grandkids. Awesome. So tell me a little bit about your journey. First of all, how did you two meet?
So we met at work.
Okay.
I'm still working at the same company where we met.
Really?
And that was, I've been there 43 years now at the company.
Wow.
It's a defense contractor in Merrimack.
Okay.
And so yeah, we met there, and our first date was a outing the company put on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So 39 years. How long did you date before you knew, or was it that first date you knew, this is the woman for me?
It was a year and a half. We dated for a year and a
Okay.
half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you saw him across the way and you said, that man is the one I'm going to marry. And you set out your snag for him, right?
Actually, the Lord showed me that I was going to marry him at the company.
Please don't tell me that you told him that.
I didn't until years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for that. So you're both believers. Even back then you were believers.
So grew up in church, but wasn't serving Jesus.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, good distinction. And what about you?
I gave my heart to the Lord many times over and over again. I was grew up in a broken Christian home. My mom raised 8 children by herself, so I would hear things about the Lord, and I was dragged to church when I was like 15, and then
Dragged to church.
And, I guess it was in my 20s I went back home and talked to my brother, and I said I'm afraid to die. So he talked to me about Jesus and told me what Jesus had to do with my life and kind of why.
How old were you when you?
I think I was like in my early 20s.
So early 20s, and you were afraid to die. What was the reasoning behind that?
Probably as a result of, not living right with the Lord. I wasn't. I was, when you're living in sin, you have that.
Define living in sin.
You're just not. You're kind of living your own way, and you have no relationship with the Lord, or even know what Jesus had done. I didn't know what Jesus had done for me, and taken my sin in my place. And
that's interesting. You said that you were raised in a broken Christian home, but you didn't know.
I would hear different parts, a lot of I'd hear Revelation, the book of Revelation, and scary things. And
Okay.
so I would hear things and, not have all my facts together, and just hearing things and current events that were relating to
late great planet Earth from Hal Lindsey, the end of the age,
and stuff like that. Yeah.
And so, were you raised in this area?
Merrimack, New Hampshire, so about a half an hour from here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you started this company at what age?
I was 17 or 18, I think. 17.
Yeah, around there.
Was that the thing to do in the area, to work for that company?
I was working with a friend of mine at Burger King, and then I lost my job there, and then he got me a job at the company that he's currently at.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So how long had you been there before you met Ken? Or saw him across the way and said, the Lord said that's your husband?
You know, I can't remember how long, how
Okay.
much time had taken, had gone. I didn't know if it was the first time that I went in. I knew where it was. And looking back, I didn't know if that was I don't think it was the first encounter. I don't think. But yeah, I'm terrible with time. I don't always remember.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what did you do there?
I worked in maintenance, like along with my husband.
Okay,
Yeah. the
Very
maintenance
cool.
Department.
very cool.
Yeah.
And so when you were raised in this area, I'm assuming, Merrimack?
Yeah.
Okay. And were you raised in a Christian home?
So, kind of. We went to church on Sunday, but that was the end of it. Okay, so my mom was a Christian. She read her Bible and she was genuine, but the rest of us were kind of dragged to church, including my dad.
Okay.
So we did the church thing. I knew the Bible stories.
Okay.
Now I believed in Jesus, and I believed that he was the Son of God. I didn't do anything about it. I didn't I didn't doubt it, but I didn't do anything about it. And so I just lived my own life. I was a wild child.
You were a wild child, so you were living in sin too.
Well, I was a wild child. So I could show you pictures. So
I don't think I want to see them. Thank you, though.
So yeah, I was like your typical teenager.
Yeah.
So I was doing drugs and
Yeah.
you name it. If I could get my hands on it,
Yeah.
I was doing it. This is before Mary. I was so involved with it. I'd sell it, and not just pot or cocaine, and acid. It didn't matter what it was. Mushrooms.
Oh, you were the wild child.
I was a wild child. And
How many siblings do you have?
four brothers.
Where were you in the lineup?
The last.
So you're the youngest. I'm a baby, so I get that. So you're the youngest of three other brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
4 other brothers. I'm the youngest of 4.
Oh, so
Five boys all total.
5 boys total, and you're the youngest.
Yes.
Wow. So you had to learn how to fend for yourself.
Mm-hmm. My next oldest brother is 5 years older than me, so
Okay.
my parents had already been through the ringer by the time I was getting raised.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they just kind of let you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
And so, okay, so this is fascinating because you obviously were searching for something. And at what age would you say that you first encountered? Because obviously, when you're doing drugs or, particularly drugs, alcohol, you are tapping into a spiritual realm.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you are steeped heavily in it because you're obviously selling it. But you had to have had an encounter with Jesus prior to even meeting Mary, because otherwise she wouldn't have been attracted to you, correct?
So I hadn't really. So I can tell you the lifestyle was a painful lifestyle. And so
Wow.
I didn't want that lifestyle anymore. I was sick of it, to be honest
How
with
long
you.
had you been involved with it at this point?
Probably I got started early. So I was young.
How young?
13, probably.
Wow.
And then maybe by the time I was like 18, 19, I was like, I don't want this lifestyle anymore. This is a
Okay.
painful lifestyle.
Wow.
So I kind of gave that stuff up, most of it, like, more just social. And I didn't really like doing it at that point. I was like tired of it. So I wanted to find a good girl and not the not so good girls. And so I met Mary, and that's when and she was definitely against that, which was another thing that attracted me to her, because she
was
want to
completely different than all the women you'd been around before that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Still wasn't a Christian at this point.
Okay. Wow. Interesting.
So we had 2 young girls. We had children right away. We got married and had children right away.
Wow.
So we had one, and then 10 months later we had another. So we were still young ourselves. Mary was 20 years old, I think, at this point.
And you were
22,
Okay.
And so my mother-in-law, Mary's mother, wanted to start taking them to church, so they brought them to Royal Rangers or Missionettes. It was Missionettes.
Yeah.
And so we went and saw them cross over the bridge and get a new rainbow for their thing. And so that was the first time really for me. We had gone to church a couple of times, but it was very Pentecostal, and I was not used to that at all.
A little freaky?
A little freaky. So not used to that at all. But I was already searching that Easter before. I watched the Jesus movie.
Oh yeah, The Passion? With Mel Gibson or no?
No, I think it was Jesus of Nazareth. I think.
Okay.
It was a 2-night series on TV.
Okay, yes.
I was not an emotional guy, but when they put the bag over his head and they were saying, prophesy who hit you, it was getting to me. Like,
Wow.
I really was, I could see I was being drawn by the Holy Spirit to do something for real. Now, my brother-in-law, who was as much of a mess as I was, had just gotten saved.
So your brother-in-law being your brother?
Her sister's husband.
Your sister's husband. Okay.
Yeah. So I saw him get saved, and it was definitely a radical change. And I knew that couldn't be him. I could tell he got saved. I could tell Jesus changed him.
Really?
Yeah. So we went to church, and we went to this outing thing, that rainbow thing. And then I was listening to a couple of messages, the pastors. We went a couple of Sundays in a row. And then this one Sunday, September 21st of 1991, we went up front and gave Jesus, asked Jesus in our heart.
So you guys did that as a couple?
Yeah, that was the one of the many times that I kept getting saved over and over again until I had assurance of my salvation. So
yeah. Wow, what a great story, though. The fact that you had been married for a couple of years, and then you both went up, and you obviously rededicated, and you gave your heart to the Lord for the first time. So you're 22, 23, somewhere around in there.
Around there, yeah.
What happened at that point? So when you were first introduced, because obviously you had some training because you had gone to Sunday school or you were forced to go. So, but what happened when you actually encountered his love that day, when you accepted him or surrendered to him?
Oh, it was so different, right?
Like night and day?
So different. So I thought I knew the Bible, like from going to school or church, right?
Yeah.
I knew about Noah, and I even knew Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, right? You knew stuff other kids didn't know, right? So you think you know the Bible and stuff, and then when you really get real, it's like a personal letter almost to you. The Bible is like a personal letter, and it was like
beautiful,
coming alive, reading it, and I just didn't want to put it down. And just wanted to learn more and more and more. But as a hungry new Christian, I would read something and be like, oh, I might as well give it up. I would read like, blasphemy of the Holy Ghost is an unforgivable sin. And I thought, I've probably done it.
So many people think that. Yeah, wow.
So, but what was important? I was going to a home group, a Bible study. And so in Sunday in church, you can't excuse me, Pastor, let me ask this question. But in a home group or a Bible study, hey, I read this week. What do you think about this? And you can learn from the questions you have. So Bible study was so big for me when I first got saved.
I wonder, you bring up a really good point. I wonder if on a Sunday service, if church were different, where people could ask questions, do you think that would be beneficial?
It was beneficial for me. So the church we were going to did Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, every week. Right. And when those doors were open, we were there, right? So at the 6 o'clock Sunday night service, they had question and answer time. And so people would write out questions, and the pastor would address them. And
that's beautiful.
And I didn't even write the questions, but some of those questions, I had the same ones, and I would hear the answers, and I'd be like, Oh, okay.
Yes, because that, honestly, I was at a church in San Francisco that did that. They did it through text. And so there would be somebody that was monitoring, and they took probably 15 minutes to, the pastor would preach a sermon on a Sunday morning, and then they would have these questions that regarding, hey, you said this, and so there would be a monitor, and the guy would be reading it, and then he would read it to the pastor, or a panel. The pastor brought up a panel, so there were several people up there. I thought that was beautiful because people, you wouldn't know who was asking the questions, because sometimes on a Sunday morning, people don't want to be seen.
Right.
They just want to go and learn. But at the same time, there's so many questions, and they don't get an opportunity to ask. So you bring up a really good point. Yes, some people don't go to the small groups, or some people don't go to home groups because they can't. But they can only go to a Sunday morning, or they choose to only go to a Sunday morning. And how would that look if that was more accessible, maybe once a month, to do something like that? That would be fascinating. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack, but so you experienced that then? Definitely.
Bible study was big for me at the beginning. And, the people teaching it, they loved it because it was a new convert that was hungry to learn.
Yes.
So they loved it. I loved it. It worked out really good.
Yeah.
So a lot of growth. That's so important when you first start going to church, and you got to get grounded. And so when you read stuff like that in the Bible and you don't know what it means, it's like, having somebody to bounce those things off of was huge.
Yeah, that's powerful. Was that the same? Did you notice a difference in him right away?
His memory's better than mine. I'm trying to think of, probably, it's been so many years, so it's probably.
Yeah.
As far as, like tithing, I remember a point in time when he decided, okay, we're gonna, we have nothing to lose, like let's tithe and apply that principle, and I saw God work through that and prove His word to be true, and probably noticing Him growing through that as well, which is a huge thing. I mean, giving God your finances, and
kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
So when you first noticed that change in him, because you'd said the Lord told you prior that he was going to be your husband, how did you feel when you found out? Well, you probably met him and then you started talking, that he hadn't yet surrendered his life to the Lord, but he was open to it. Did that sway you from the Lord telling you he was
to be honest with you, I was so young and I didn't really know what was happening. And it took me years later to be like, oh, I remember that God was showing me like that I wanted to marry. When I was a little girl, I played with Barbie and Ken, and I always wanted to marry a Ken. And so, which is funny, and I probably thought the Ken doll was handsome too, or whatever.
Sure, I know I did as a little girl.
So, and it wasn't till years later that I was putting pieces together, and it wasn't just God showing me Ken. The Lord also showed me other family members that would be a part of my family later on in life.
Wow.
So it was a learning thing, and it took me a lot of years to kind of be like, oh, duh, like that was God showing me that. And so
wow. Well, obviously he did tell you that, because it's 39 years later and you're still together, which is beautiful. On that note, as 39 years of marriage in the church, believers, has it always been easy?
No.
Tell me a little bit about the journey because a lot of young married couples think when they hit a rough patch that, that's over, or we're done, or whatever. I myself am divorced. And so explain to me when the things get rough, what do you do with that?
So that's a good question. I like your question that you're asking. So definitely had rough patches. Were there times that we were ready to split up? Boy, we were right there, right? A couple of things I think helped us through. So, we had rough patches before we were a Christian.
Yeah.
But that doesn't end the rough patches just because you become a Christian. So
come on.
We went.
Wait, say that again. Look in the camera and say that again.
Rough patches don't stop just because you become a Christian.
Come on.
So
Come on. They probably intensify if we're going to be honest.
So you know what really helps other Christians really help? Iron sharpens iron. And so
Beautiful.
we got in a marriage ministry class that really, we ended up teaching it. It was so
Nice.
powerful.
Wow.
What they had you do the first session was pull out your wedding vows, which now we weren't even saved when we got married, right?
Wow.
So pull out your wedding vows and read the vows that you made. There was probably a covenant between you, your wife, and God.
That's
three of you.
beautiful.
So we read it, and to my surprise, it had God all through it. We weren't even Christians, but our wedding vows, we made a vow that we were going to stick together for better, for worse, till death do us part.
Beautiful.
So we didn't want to live life miserable. So we're like, we're in it together forever. So let's make it fun. And so that's been it ever since.
So how do you make it fun?
Well, it's funny you asked me that now because it hasn't been fun. Because we just bought a home and renovated it, so it's been anything but fun. I mean, it's great because we're working on a project together.
Sure.
But keeping we
that's
do
real.
like to date each other. So, and things did get tough, like because we're in it, renovating and
Yeah.
So it was
it's
tough.
hard work.
It was
So how do you keep the fun element?
Keep it fun.
So
really that's
specifically though, I'm not saying what we're not saying is that when rough patches hit that you're not having fun anymore. Let's maybe define what fun means to you.
I'm like the most plain Jane. For me, fun is having a fire outside, and so I'm kind of boring, but
no, that's beautiful though.
I don't know. I think I'm trying to define, or as we're hitting different stage in life, finding what time it really to kind of have fun and making it a priority, because
I love that.
you can't just work all the time and without enjoyment, without taking time to have fun. And we enjoy vacationing together. So I guess back a year ago or so,
before the project,
yeah. So we do enjoy vacationing together.
Yeah. What about you? Fun for you?
Well, I think it's more than just fun. I think when I said you don't want to live life miserable, right? And a lot of times when you're young, there are differences. Sometimes opposites attract, right?
Sure.
And so chances are your spouse is a lot different than you are. But instead of looking at those differences in a negative way, if you look at them in a positive way, they see something different than the way you see it. And if you're open to receive a different point of view, you see a bigger picture, and
That's
you grow together in a good way. And instead of making it an adversary thing, make it more of a
ally.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah,
exactly.
You bring up a good point, because a lot of times marriages in the church are the husband is the head and the woman submits. You've obviously taught a marriage class, so explain maybe a different way of seeing that, as the husband being the head of the wife and the wife submitting.
So if you think about it as being the husband being the head of the wife, it's Jesus is, right, the head of the church, or we're the bride of Christ, right?
Yeah.
So it's how Jesus loved the church. What did he do for the church? Everything. What did he do for people? He laid down his life, right? So he would do anything, right? He loves the people so much. So if that's how the husband feels towards the wife, just loving her no matter what, no matter where, you are, and quick to forgive, right? That's so important. Don't let the sun go down upon your wrath.
Okay, let's hit on that for a second, because I've heard multiple different couples say different things regarding that. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. And it is in the scripture. But what does that mean to you practically
Mm-hmm.
when you're in an argument? Because I'm not saying you guys argue, but you're a married couple, so, and you're still together for 39 years. So probably have different, you said it earlier, a different set of viewpoints, if you will, when you come together, particularly from the husband. I know from the woman, well, from my side, but from the husband's side, how do you practically put that into use if you're arguing and it's 12 o'clock at night and you've just renovated and you're tired, and do you actually go to sleep? Do you continue? How do you practically walk that out?
I try to quickly get over something. I try to make sure quickly if something's, if you're offended or something like that, just, forgive and forget and move on, right? Or, just don't dwell on it. And then when you dwell on it, it seems like you give place to the devil when that happens. And it just festers and gets worse and worse and worse. So the quicker you can move on from it, not that there isn't hurt or not that there isn't something that happened. I think talking about it maybe after, when things are a little calmer, might be good.
When it's not so intense emotionally.
Right,
Yeah.
right. When you can both receive okay with
Wow,
it.
that's good.
But don't get to the point where it's, storming out, or, you just storm out of the place, or just, I think talking it through and being quick to forgive really helps.
Yeah, that's good. How about you?
And you kind of learn what not to do, like, that's really, if and just making that choice. And I agree with the don't give place to the devil, because he'll try and get in there and want to separate, right? He wants to divide and conquer and make us enemies instead of allies. And so I mean, it's definitely not perfect, and it's not, we don't say, oh, like, I'm sorry, would you please forgive me? I mean, we do, but it's not like this neat little bow and, but,
No, but you've learned how.
We learn how to come at it and work with each other.
It actually gets easier as time
does.
goes on. Not
Really?
that we don't really argue that much now. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have differences and stuff like that, but we don't really get like that now. We did. We were like that before. But we want to make the best of life and really enjoy one another. You know what? I do love her to pieces. I do. I just love her, and I know she loves me. I can tell that she loves me too. So we just don't let these little things get in the middle and separate.
Yeah, that's beautiful, beautiful. So the secret behind a 39-year marriage is you just learn how to honor and love and respect each other, and it comes out in different ways, obviously, but you've made the covenant. I loved what you said. You looked at those vows and you realized you made a covenant before God, and you're both, it sounds to me like you're both pretty firm in, I'm not going to break a covenant before God, but also I'm not going to break a covenant with an individual that God has brought into my life, and we're building life together. That's beautiful, and that's the way it should be. It's not always the case.
It takes two. So
if you were to give some young couple who is kind of in that moment of, I just don't know if I don't know if I love this person anymore, the feelings aren't there, what would you encourage them with?
So the feelings do come and go. Definitely happens. When you first get married, right, you don't see some flaws because you're just, well, everything's great, right? And then later on, you realize, what happened here? But sticking it through is, there is some endurance that takes place, right? But I think looking back at your vows, because you meant it when you said it before. Good. I am going to stick through this for better, for worse. I am going to do my part. Now, sometimes the spouse chooses not to do their part, and that happens.
Right.
And so I don't look down on people that, if somebody has not made it through, there's probably reasons that's happened, and it doesn't mean it's that one or the other one, right? It takes two, really, to do this.
Yeah.
So, I think I would encourage them to really just try to work things out and, read their vows. Try
That's
to go
really
back.
good.
Try to go back to where they were
Yeah.
when they really meant it, and then do your part, right?
Yeah.
My part is to love her as Christ loves the church. I need to do that part, regardless of anything else. How many times have I messed up, but Jesus is still quick to forgive me?
That's good.
I got to do that, right? So that's how I am to be towards Mary.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And then what is your responsibility of the husband, the head of the wife? Because I'm assuming you said that you're a very boring person, but I doubt that you're a boring person. But you probably have some pretty strong opinions about things. And so how do you, as a loving wife, submit? What does that even mean?
That's been a learning thing for sure too. It's a yield. It's choosing to yield, and I mean I could be standing up on the inside, but I choose not to even do that. Like there was a time when I would be standing up on the inside. It's yielding, right, yielding to my husband as unto the Lord, and knowing that God has my best interest at heart. So, and it's nothing that's ever terrible that he's asking of me, or he's very reasonable and very easy to submit to, honestly.
Yeah.
So
I love that, because when a man steps into his rightful role, he doesn't see it as a lordship.
right.
He sees it as, I've been given something that I have to lay my life down to. So from what I'm hearing you say, you respect and honor that position, but also the one that God gave to you as that soulmate. And then it's easy, you just said it, it's easy to submit to that, because God never commands us to love the husband. He only commands the husband to love the wife.
Mm-hmm.
He commands us to submit to the husband, but you hit it so beautifully. When he's easy to submit to because he loves me,
Yeah.
and he's laid his life down. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I liked what she said about, because I feel the same way about her. Like, I know she has my best interest at heart, and she knows I have her best interest at heart, right? So she's not out to hurt me. We're on the same team. And so
good.
I like that she said that, because I do feel the same way. Like, I look up for her best interest as well.
That's beautiful, and that's what Paul says, that we're to submit to one another. So honestly, what you just said is exactly what that is. You are submitting. It's a two-way. She loves, you submit, you love. It's both of you. You're on the same team. You're going after the same things, which brings up another really interesting point. I'm assuming you're empty nesters. You said they're fully grown and they're out of the house, and so you're remodeling a house. How has that been? Because that's another whole transition after raising 2 children. What has that been like? How long has it been that you've been empty nesters?
Well, our children are 39, 38 and 39,
38.
or 37, 38, something like that.
37,
Late 30s.
Late
Yeah.
30s, yeah.
So our youngest girl, so the first one, we're very close. The 4 of us, we did everything together. So
Oh, okay.
we were the youth leaders when they were in,
Oh.
that age,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Then when they were going off to college, we were the young adults, right? So
Nice.
even when they came back from college,
Yeah.
they were still
Nice.
with us with all this stuff. And then they found husbands, to get married to. Our oldest went to a Christian school,
Okay.
the same one that Pastor Darrell went to.
Okay.
Zion Bible College, I think, is where he went, right?
Yeah.
So that's where she went.
Okay.
And then she moved up to Haverhill when it moved to the North Point, I think it's called, something
Okay.
like that. So she graduated from there. And our youngest daughter, she's a director at a daycare. She just loves kids, and that's what
awesome.
she wanted to do. And she got married to a pastor, so she's
Nice.
a pastor's wife. Yeah.
Okay, and do they still live locally?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're in Haverhill, that's somewhat close.
Okay.
Yeah, he pastors a church, and they pastor a church in Haverhill, and our other daughter lives in Merrimack.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
awesome. So how did you find Faith Worship Center?
So we knew about Faith Worship Center in the 90s. We visited here a couple of times on a Sunday night. So we knew about it, and we liked it, but we were well grounded at a church, so we
Sure.
stayed at that church, and then God led us to different, we only went to a couple of churches, but it was more for ministry. Every time we left, it was over ministry to
Really?
go to another church. We did the young adults, so we went and we were teaching young adults in Manchester, and then we left there and went to inner city to work with a group called Roca. They were for kids. It's for kids that just are, in the city that just don't have. They're not churched, or so we would feed them, play games with them, and then we would give them a Bible story. We would have 100 kids at one location, and then it grew so
Wow.
much. We started a second location, and we just loved doing that. And the second location that got started, we went there to help, and then we saw the need, and then we started attending church there because we wanted those kids to start going to church.
Wow.
So yeah, that's.
So how did you find Faith Worship Center then, from that point?
So we were there for a while, and it was time for us to move on from the inner city church, and this was the one I wanted to come back to check out. We went to one other one first, only because we watched online, and the pastor was on vacation, so we wanted to wait till he got back. But right from the very first service that we attended here, wow, the love of the people were just amazing and so encouraging. Jesus said, by their love one for another, people will know you're my disciples. And we could just see that right from the beginning. We sensed the Spirit from the very first time we entered the door here.
Wow. When was that? What year?
August last year, just August of last year.
So it's only been a year then, a little over a year.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay, so since you've been here, why do you feel like the Lord led you here? Because you said each move was for ministry. Are you feeling anything?
Actually, I needed to take a break for a bit because it's always been doing,
Yeah.
and so
You needed to rest.
needed that time of rest. So I think we got that time of rest, really needed. So if you can think of a ministry, we've probably done it. So
Wow.
yeah, it's
So you would be, what you're saying is that you're ready to get back into the game again, or the battle again.
I am.
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay. So what do you see in this environment that you obviously carry, but you see as maybe needing help in this area, in this church, in this community? Or do you?
I am open to see how the Lord would want me to do, what it is. I see some things that, just some great people here. There's just such great people. What a loving group. I mean, I've been to a lot of churches, not a lot. I've only been to a few, I guess, but we've really attended and got to know. This place has got some really loving people towards one another. So, I'm looking to see what God would do. I don't want to just jump into something.
yeah.
I want to see what
That's
God
fair.
would have me do.
Sure.
Or, if the pastor sees something, that's, he might know of something that I'm not aware of. But, looking to see how I can add some value in any way for God.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So you guys have done marriage classes, you've ran youth, you've ran young adults and young marrieds, and so you've done it all.
Children's church we
Children's
did.
church,
I've been
okay.
deacon, I've been the treasurer, I've been
Wow.
all kinds of that. Preached on Sundays, didn't
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
So looking for whatever God has.
Yeah. Wow, that's beautiful. And what about you?
I guess as far as seeing stuff, I guess I feel like I haven't been here long long enough in some ways. Like we haven't really been all that consistent in coming with the house projects and stuff like that.
Sure.
So it's been kind of to be honest with you, just a crazy time, and just it's exciting but also frustrating. You know,
Did you flip the house yet?
We-
You did. You finished it.
yes. So yeah, it's
Awesome.
just trying to get my head around all that.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Now, did you flip it to sell or flip it to move into?
No, our
To move
retirement home.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. So, how far away from retirement are you? You don't know. You just okay.
Not too far.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. So what kind of things make you come alive in the church? Like what kind of things are you the most excited about?
We did a Foundations of Faith class at one of our churches. I was excited about that.
So you're a teacher.
With the book, you know, just kind of, you know, like using a book. I'm not that you have to know, you know, you're growing in the Lord and stuff like that.
You like hubby being in the front, and you'll
So-
just be the support system.
I can tell you what she's like.
Yes.
I know what her thing is.
Yeah.
Evangelist.
Yeah, evangelism.
Oh,
That's
you're
what
an
it is.
evangelist.
Well, yes and no, my own kind of bumbly way, I guess, you know. So I do, yeah. I have a heart for kind of down and out, you know,
Yeah.
outcast people, and
Yeah.
yeah,
She's
Not
got a
that
heart
they're
for the
all-
lost.
yeah. I have a heart for the lost.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. There's not a whole lot of evangelists that are around this area,
Yeah,
from what I'm picking up in the New England states.
Yeah.
It's an interesting group of people that are living in the New England states, and they're very, I don't want to say, generalized comment would be that they're very focused and they don't have a whole lot of spare time if it's outside their purview. So evangelism isn't the easiest thing, but when you love it, you just love people.
yeah,
And
right.
when you stop and think about it, it's not a program, it's an
True.
actual,
True. And then you see
Like-
where somebody's at. and-
Right.
Yeah.
right, so you just love people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
People are the treasure.
Yeah.
That's the true treasure in life.
Yeah,
You know,
come on.
you can't bring anything with you to heaven except people.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
only
yeah,
thing.
that's
Everything
it.
else burns out.
That's right. That's
People are
good.
the only thing that go to heaven. So if you want to
Right.
invest in something, invest in people.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love what you said as far as, you know, the loving people that are in this congregation or in this community. But some people coming into a community that have come from dysfunctional family life don't necessarily want to have a family. What would you say to that? Because relationship is the most important thing. But they have such a bad view of family. When they come into a community, they kind of like not really want to get to know people, just surfacey level, because they're afraid if they get too involved that they will be, if you really knew me, you would kick me out of your club type of feel. How do you address people like that?
I think a lot of people are hurt, right? That are out there. People have been hurt, so they don't want to be vulnerable. So they don't open themselves up, because if they do, they get vulnerable and get hurt. So the difference here, I think, with this church is, for the year we've been coming, or 13 months now, right? We've been here. People have been doing nothing but building us up. That's what, every time you come, they got encouraging words for you. Just something they try. It's in there. I just read their mission statement or whatever.
Okay.
And one of the things in there was like to find the best in people and bring that part out, or something like that. And it's just like, I see that that is what this church does for real. They look for the best in people and try to bring that out, which is really good.
Yeah, that's beautiful. How about for you?
I feel like the more open and transparent you are with people, and
That's beautiful.
you know, I can't relate to somebody that's got it all together, and you know, I just want I want to be as real as I can with people and let them know that I definitely don't have it all together, and I feel like that builds bond there, and transparency, and the more open you are with people, they just open up,
Yeah.
So as far as family goes, I would think it would probably take time for them to do that, to maybe see how God accepts them and receives them, and loves them, and so they can love themselves before taking on a family, or caring for something else. And,
That's the
taking care
evangelist
of
in you,
themselves.
yeah.
Yeah.
Reach out and bring them in, give them time, give them space.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Do you feel like when you come in, because I know we talked about this briefly at the picnic the other day, people tend to sit in the same places.
We do, yeah.
That, because I know where you guys actually sit, because I sit we're creatures of habit,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Do you feel like people that come in and don't know, like, so they'll typically go in the back? As an evangelist, do you, or have you?
I should go out and say hello to them. I'm very shy, and I make myself do things, so I really should make myself.
Yeah.
And it really, it kind of still coming off this whole Reno thing. It's really been all crazy. Not to make excuses, because I do want to do that, and I should put myself out there, because people they're awkward, and I'm actually in a really awkward stage right now, and they're uncomfortable, and and you let them know you're awkward and uncomfortable too, and
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love what you said about being transparent and vulnerable, because they're just coming into an environment, and they probably think, well, everybody knows everybody here, but the reality is there are a lot of people that are just like you, me, the same way. It's very uncomfortable for me to approach someone who's new because of me, not because of them.
Right.
But they don't know that.
Right.
They think that nobody's talking to me, but what they don't realize is, so the challenge, and I came from an environment where we were challenged because I was on leadership, and I was quiet, and I didn't really want to, I'm the wallflower. All of my high school friends would tell you, wait, she does what now? Wouldn't even, because I purposely had to step out of that. And so you even being an evangelist, and I know it's crazy time and stuff, but you guys you're part of the family now, you're in. So you might as well start stepping into that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people feel that same way. And I personally feel that the way things are going right now, I mean, we all know that time feels like it's just ramping up, like it's going at a pace that none of us have really experienced before, because we know that we're coming to something. I personally believe that the Lord is coming back soon. I don't know when. Soon could be another 1,000 years, but I know things are ramping up, and I know the good and evil is becoming more and more exposed. So people are coming in looking for the vulnerability. They're looking for the transparency. They're not coming in for, that's one of the purposes that I wanted to do this for, is the reality of, listen, we're all in the same boat. We don't need to judge and criticize each other like a religious program and come in and follow this protocol and then you can fit into our family. Just come as you are.
That's right.
And then we can just, and it gets messy. It's not easy, because there is a lot of church hurt. People that have been offended, particularly by leaders. So I just honor the respect you guys for coming in and just kind of sitting for a while, because we're needing to get fed, because typically leaders do all of the feeding and don't necessarily get fed themselves. And so, but now you've been here for 13 or 14 months, so I'm going to challenge you. Y'all need to step up. You carry a lot. It feels like you've carried a lot in your life, and your testimony is absolutely beautiful. And I feel that as things are continuing to change around us, even in the church environment, the authenticity and the transparency of being, hey, we're just humans, And we don't always get it right, but we do the best we can, and we love the one who does get it right. So they're not coming and seeking so much, okay, well, I'm just going to come to church on Sundays and get fed and then go back out and into the world the rest of the 6 days, that they're in, and they just come here and just get fed. No, it's different than that. The community, I love what you said about how people are so loving in this, because it's genuinely caring for people.
It is.
And not a program. So sometimes the program needs to be thrown out and just go and hang out at a picnic, and that's where people feel the connection.
And that frees when you know that somebody loves you and is for you, it frees you to love yourself and grow and
That's beautiful.
love others, and
Well said. Well said. That's beautiful. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of Hidden Gems, and thank you for Ken and Mary for saying yes and for being real. And we know when you see Ken and Mary now sitting in, they come in the doors and they sit within the second or third row on the left-hand side if you're facing the stage. And I'm gonna see if you do that Sunday, or if you're gonna go to another spot. But definitely come up and talk to them, because they're obviously hidden gems that need to be exposed in a good way, and just would love to see your house someday that you have flipped.
Yes.
And thank you again for being a part of this group of I hate to say misfits, but kind of we all are if you stop and think about it, but just a loving couple. So thank you for sharing your story, and there's a lot more questions that people can dig from you and get some answers for their own lives. So thank you for joining us on this special episode. We'll see you next time on Hidden Gems. Have a great week.